not answering your question.
Forget it. Start the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Chase for the Championship. Oh, I am Chris Clark. Got a ton of great stuff to get to today. Best team in the league last week, the Virginia Cavaliers. They fell to their in-state rivals, the Virginia Tech Hokies. That loss hit the Cavs hard, and they took it out on the NC State Wolfpack late last night at PNC Arena. Although in the beginning it looked as though the Cavaliers might have the same issues of starting slow like they did against Virginia Tech. While the opening act was familiar, the second act was not. Cavaliers went on a 12-2 run late to keep the NC State Wolfpack at bay. Tony Bennett called his crew out after they lost to Tech, saying they were finessey, if that's a word. Guess it is. Either way, nothing finessey about last night's performance. Their loss to Tech, looks like a definite turning point for the Cavaliers.
They showed some the idea of not yielding. I kept saying that in the timeout, don't yield. And I was glad to see that we hung tough and came away with a good road victory.
I know for me, I just took it personal, and I was like, I'm going to make sure that I can't give him a reason to call me soft. And we all just took it personal. And, losing to Virginia Tech, that hurts a lot. And we just learned, it humbled us a little bit because we're on a roll. And we just knew we had to come out and really fight this game.
You never want your coach to call you soft, so you take that pretty personally, and we responded pretty well. We were physical. Obviously, some things to clean up and work on still, but we were physical, we were tough-minded, and that's why we came out on top.
Next time the Cavaliers hit the floor, going to be against the Pitt Panthers this Saturday at 4 p.m. The Panthers took down the Virginia Tech Hokies last night. And joining me now, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Panthers, Jeff Capel. And, Coach, got to say that's a quality win over the Hokies to get off that losing skid.
First of all, really proud of our team. Big time effort by our guys. We beat a very, very good basketball team. A team that had been playing as well as anyone in our league, coming off of a huge win against Virginia where they played really well. And a team that's very, very well coached. I thought we fought, and we looked like the team that we've been the majority of the season. We had two really good practices. That led to this. And I thought it was a big time performance by everyone. And even the guys that didn't get in the game because of how they practice. Obviously you had some individual performances. Xavier was incredible. Played under control, played with speed, with force, but also with pace. He changed his pace. He was in control the whole game. Proud of our team, proud of our effort. We're going to enjoy this, and then we'll start getting ready for Virginia tomorrow.
True, you don't have much time to savor these. You said after the Notre Dame game you needed this team to get their mojo back. Do you feel like the guys did that against Virginia Tech?
Well, I thought we looked like, for the whole game, I thought we looked like the team that we've looked like, that we've been the majority of the season. We had a 3-game stretch where we didn't play well. We didn't have the edge. And in one of those games, we didn't play hard. We didn't compete like, we have been. But we didn't, I'm not going to say we panicked, but there was a sense of urgency. And, we talked to our guys, we had to fix it. And these are things that we can fix. I know it's in there because we've seen it the majority of the season. And so the preparation has to be hard. Mindset has to be right. And the discipline has to be there. Obviously, in the second half, we were able to get into a rhythm offensively. And so that was good to see, to score 52 points in the half. We got to the foul line. We capitalized there, and guys made some big-time plays.
Now, Xavier Johnson and Theo Horton, 1 and 2 in scoring. Xavier with a game-high 32. They didn't start against the Hokies. First off, when did you tell them they were coming off the bench?
I told my team on Monday, on Monday when we came back, that we would not have the same starting lineup. I don't know who will start, but it won't be the same, and it'll be determined by what happens in practice. And so I made the decision and let them know at the 10-minute mark before the game when we go through the lineups.
10 minutes, that's not a lot of time, Coach. How'd they handle that?
They were fine. They were great. They were great. They were all about the team, all about us, and that's how we all have to be.
Now, do you think that was motivation for Xavier to put up 32 like he did, prove a point maybe?
I don't know. I don't think his mission was to score 32. I think it was just for us to play really well. And for him, he's really important for us. He's really, really important from us. I think Xavier has the ability. I think he is one of the better guards in our league, and I think he has the ability to be really, really good. And he's been good. He leads, or he was in top 2. I don't know what the exact number is now, but an assist in our league. We know that he can score. I just thought he played with under control, and the really good point guards have the ability to understand what the game needs, what the game calls for. Sometimes that could be double-figure assists, low scoring, great defense. Sometimes it could be 30 points. X has the ability where he can do both. And it's just him understanding each and every day and each and every game what the game calls for.
Appreciate you taking the time, Coach. Moving on here, been an up and down week for those Virginia Tech Hokies. They beat Notre Dame a week ago yesterday. Then they took on and took down Virginia by 14 in the Castle. And they win those bragging rights, so it in-state rivals too, all important. Then they come out and run into a hot shooting Pitt Panthers team last night. So to make sense of all of it for us, we turn to the sharpest dressed man in the next darn nation. Of course, I'm talking about WFXR's Jermaine Farrell. Jermaine.
Well, folks, the Virginia Tech men's basketball team, one of the nice, pleasant surprises on this ACC season, and they did it again in a great way as the men's hoops team in that Commonwealth Clash, ranked 20th at the time. Virginia Tech Hokies knocked off the 8th-ranked Virginia Cavaliers last Saturday. 65-51 inside Castle Coliseum. Forward Keve Aluma notched a career-high 29 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, which is his 4th double-double of the season.
Aluma was really playing well as he did throughout. I thought the ball was moving a little bit better. I thought we screened a little bit better on the other end. We continued to contest and hang in there. I thought we did a nice job on the glass. Just better basketball from our team, and couldn't have come at a better time. Good win for the Hokies.
Meanwhile, after turning in 2 double-doubles last week, Keve Aluma earned 4 prestigious awards this past week, earning the Jersey Mike's Naismith Trophy Player of the Week, the ACC Player of the Week, ESPN Player of the Week, and the U.S. Basketball Writers Association selected Aluma as its Oscar Robinson National Player of the Week. The redshirt junior during that stretch averaged 21.5 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks per game. Last week, along with that strong performance against UVA, the Wofford transfer was steady in that win against Notre Dame the previous Tuesday, 14 points, 12 rebounds on that double-double. Tech has 4 wins over ranked teams this season, making them the only ACC team that has more than 4. Well, last night they lost to an unranked team. The Hokies ranked 16th. They dropped one. Xavier Johnson scored a career-high 32 points for Pittsburgh as they beat the 16th-ranked Virginia Tech Hokies 83-72 to end a 3-game skip at the Panthers. Panthers had their way against a usually stingy Virginia Tech defense. Pitt beat a ranked opponent for the first time since January 2019. Keve Aluma added to his career high. He had 30 points, 10 of 16 shooting for the Hokies, and he also had 10 rebounds, so another double-double. The Hokies now 13-4 overall, and they're 7-3 in the ACC, and all their 4 losses were to unranked teams. So you get 4 wins against ranked teams, 4 against them. So they're having that balance, and they're looking to regroup as they get back to action coming up later on during the week. Covering the Virginia Tech Hokies, I'm Jermaine Farrell.
Thank you as always, Jermaine. Yeah, that's right. Up next for the Hokies, we're talking about the Hurricanes coming up here. That one should be a good one now. And just like Jermaine said, Virginia Tech junior forward Keve Aluma, he was the ACC Player of the Week. Second time he's earned the award. He also claimed the distinction November the 30th. Following that first week of regular season play. Yeah, Aluma recorded consecutive double-doubles, including a career-high 29 and 10 rebounds against UVA, 10 of 15 from the field, including hitting a pair of three-pointers, and 7 of 8 from the charity stripe. Also recorded 4 assists and a block shot earlier in the week. I mean, just straight beasting all the way through. Go ahead and I'll show you the full screen for that one here with the actual numbers on that bad boy. And, yeah, Keve Aluma just rolling with it. Unbelievable play. Hopefully they can keep that kind of thing going on down the stretch. Moving on to Miami. They say a herd animal is a dangerous animal. Same can be said for basketball teams. Yeah, the Hurricanes, they check the hurt box for sure. They're missing Chris Lakes, Elijah Okalaniyi, sorry, and Earl Timberlake, among others. Heck, even freshman Matt Cross said he didn't want to play at Miami anymore. He left Saturday, but Elijah Olanise scored 21 points. Anthony Walker and Isaiah Wong added 16 apiece, and shorthanded Miami ended a 4-game losing streak on Duke. Now, you would think it was a spirited practice or something, but no. Hurricanes didn't even practice the day before, but rather watch tape on the Blue Devils. Oh, it paid off big. Isaiah Wong was questionable after spraining an ankle on Saturday, but Wong appeared fine, and Hurricanes, they don't have any problem getting the ball inside, shooting 52.5%, including 17 of 28 in the second half. When Duke went to a 3-2 zone, one of the worst Division I three-point shooting teams made 7 of 15 behind the arc. Big win for Miami, all about attitude, according to Coach.
Everybody was paying attention. Everybody was in a good mood. Everybody was smiling. And that's sometimes difficult after a tough road loss like at Wake Forest. But I think the players knew we actually played pretty good offense in the second half. And that made the guys feel like, hey, maybe we found something that'll work.
We had more players coming back. He came back. So it was just like we were struggling, but we know we're one of the top teams in ACC.
Speaking of top teams, one of the top teams in the league, the Florida State Seminoles, won't be getting on the court anytime soon due to COVID-19 issues. To get us up to speed on the latest from Tallahassee, we're going to turn things over to WNBB's Courtney Mims, who is covering the Seminoles. Courtney.
The number 20 Florida State Seminoles were supposed to be in action last night against Boston College, but the Noles have been hit with COVID-19 once again. The ACC announcing on Monday night that 3 of Florida State's games have been postponed. Now, the last game the Noles played was on Saturday against Georgia Tech. They lost that one 76-65. They were on a 5-game win streak before falling to the Yellow Jackets. They've only been able to play 6 games since the last time they had to deal with the COVID-19 shutdown, and now they have to do it all again. Not only was the Boston College game postponed, but so was their games with Pittsburgh set for this Saturday and their game against Virginia Tech next Tuesday. This is actually the second time the Pittsburgh game has been postponed because it was originally supposed to be in early January and was rescheduled to this Saturday. FSU also had games against Duke and Syracuse that were postponed in January, but they have yet to be rescheduled. The next time the Noles are set to be in action is on Saturday, February 13th against Wake Forest. Reporting on Florida State, I'm Courtney Mims.
Thank you, Courtney. That is a long time due to cancellations. Like she said, there's not going to be a lot of basketball down there. Next time we see them, Saturday, February 13th. That is a noon tip against the Demon Deacons. That is the next scheduled game. We're going to see the Noles. That is crazy.
Well, the Louisville Cardinals are on a bit of a break due to COVID. The Cards have paused activities due to a positive test within the program. Wednesday's game at Syracuse was postponed. Louisville actually received word of this positive test while in Syracuse, so you have to think that caused some major issues, a positive test while on the road. Saturday's game at Virginia has also been postponed. The team is currently working on quarantine and contact tracing. Now, their next scheduled game, you hope they will be able to play it, will be against Pitt on February the 10th. Now, the good news, if there is any from all this, is that Louisville goes into this pause with a win. On Monday, Louisville beat Georgia Tech 74-58. The Cards blew the game open with a 14-2 run to start the second half. David Johnson had 24. Samuel Williams, big day, 20 points and 18 rebounds. The Cards are now 11-4 overall, 6-3 in the ACC, and we will have to wait to see exactly when they will be able to play again. Covering the Louisville Cardinals, I'm Randall Parmley.
Thank you, Randall. All right, time for some more trivia here, everybody. Listen up. UNC and Duke both need no reminder of their legendary resumes or their rivalry. But this one may shock you. Since 2000, how many times has both Duke and UNC had a player average 20-plus points per game in the same season? Let that one marinate for a minute. We're going to come back in a little bit with the answer. No Googling. Come on now. Play fair here. Keeping with this Tar Heels theme, for the first time since 1960, North Carolina and Duke will meet as unranked teams on Saturday. The Tar Heels, they were on a roll as of late before losing to Clemson earlier this week. WNCN's Alyssa Bray has more.
Hey there, Chris. North Carolina has been hot lately, winning 6 of 7 games heading into Tuesday night's matchup at Clemson. But that game did not go their way. The Tar Heels have been taking advantage of their depth in the front court. Day'Ron Sharpe had a team-high 16 points, but Armando Bacot and Garrison Brooks combined for just 9 points. The lack of production from the Bigs was just the beginning of things that went wrong in the 63-50 loss.
Day'Ron was 6 for 8, but Armando was 0 for 1, Garrison 4 for 10. So when we did get it, we didn't necessarily make it, but it wasn't just that they cut us off inside. Our whole offense, 10 turnovers in the first half, 2 offensive rebounds in the whole first half.
I think it's we didn't take a step back. I think we just stayed in the same spot instead of taking a step forward. I think we struggled today. I mean, you're gonna have days you struggle. Most of the time you overcome it, but today we struggled, we didn't win. But I think it's something that we can still learn from.
I feel like we go back to practice and we just work hard every day and just get ready for Duke.
Of course, the Clemson loss is in the rear view for the Tar Heels, and all eyes on Duke for their visit to Cameron Indoor Stadium on Saturday. Chris?
Thank you, Alyssa. Always a big one on the calendar, Duke and UNC at Cameron Indoor. Saturday tip time set for 6 p.m. And if ever there was a Jekyll and Hyde team in the ACC this year, it's the Duke Blue Devils. I mean, they got the talent, just not the experience. And when they play as a unit, the baby Blue Devils roll people, man. But they just haven't been on the court with each other long enough to develop that kind of cohesiveness. It's got Coach K changing how he does things. I'll say that again. Coach K is looking at how he's coaching these guys up. Let that sink in. He broke out the zone defense a few weeks back, and that's not all he's looking at.
We're the 5th youngest team in the NCAA. And that's not an excuse. It's like what it is you have to coach that team differently. And I got to keep looking at maybe not going how I coached some other teams might not work with this team. Like how do I keep getting a consistently positive, productive message to my group?
Might not have the same hype as Duke UNC games of the past. I mean, this is the first time these two have met when neither was ranked since 1960. But this is still UNC and Duke. Still carries the animosity. Some would say downright hatred. Both teams need a win. Would look good on that Big Dance resume. Knocking off UNC would be a nice feather in the cap of the baby Blue Devils team that just had a bad loss to Miami. But in the end, it is still Duke and UNC.
We're both unranked, so it's going to be a little weird. But we don't try to focus on rankings and all about the buzz. It's UNC Duke. The history's gone long before us. We know how big of a game this is, and they know how big of a game this is. So this is going to be as big as a game as they were last year as well.
Just having an opportunity to play in this game is very big time, and it's very exciting. Everyone's excited, even though there aren't fans. It's still going to be a big time game.
And the most noticeable difference will be just how quiet it's going to be in Cameron Indoor. COVID rules mean no crazies. And oh, how we love the crazies. Remember when Virginia's Olden Polynice had those allegations of plagiarism? The crazies serenaded him with "Where's Olden?" at the copy machine. Oh, I do. Sam Perkins from UNC had those really long arms, and one of the kids in there dressed up in a replica jersey to which he had attached these giant fake arms that were probably 10 feet long. I mean, who couldn't forget Wake Forest Muggsy Bogues, all of 5'3", baller, routinely referred to as Webster when he went there. And when Virginia's 5'10", Ricky Stokes was at the line, the crazies used to chant, "Stand up, Stokes, stand up." And of course, everybody's favorite, we all remember, following the arrest of Lorenzo Charles of NC State for stealing pizzas, his pregame introduction was greeted by a shower of pizza boxes. Nope, not going to be the same without the crazies.
Very disappointing, and it's been a huge part of not just basketball, it's part of Duke. Our guys, because we have so many freshmen, they don't know what it's like to come to practice every day and have 12 to 1,500 kids in tents waiting to see them play. But, I miss it more for our school, and it'll be good when if we can get back to that in the future, because it's it's our little Woodstock, so to speak.
It's gonna be a lot weird, you know, being a part of the 2 games last year against UNC. You know, there's nothing better in sports than that. But, you know, with no fans, I feel like, you know, the bench, you know, we have to bring our own energy. It's gonna be different, but, you know, hopefully we can just come out with a W.
And a big congratulations to Duke freshman Jalen Johnson for winning the ACC Freshman of the Week award. He averaged 13.5 points, 7 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 2.5 steals per game as Duke recorded home wins over Georgia Tech and Clemson. He was 10 of 18 from the field, 7 of 10 at the free throw line. Johnson scored 18 points on 7-11 shooting in Tuesday's win over the Yellow Jackets, including 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, and a team-high 3 steals in just 24 minutes. That's the day at the office, man. He posted another all-around effort Saturday versus Clemson with 9 points, a team-high 8 boards, team-high 5 assists, and 2 steals. And speaking of which, Clemson Tigers are rounding into shape and starting to flex a little bit. They beat UNC this week. They improved to 11-5 on the season, 5-5 in conference play. For more on what's going down in Clemson, we turn to WSPA's Pete Yannity for the latest. Pete.
The Tigers were looking for a bounce-back win on Tuesday night as North Carolina visited, this coming off a blowout loss at Duke on Saturday. And, well, to say Clemson grinded out their victory against North Carolina would be an understatement. It was a physical battle, to say the least, and despite being out-rebounded by 10, Clemson still managed to shoot 40% from the field, build a 24-9 lead by 12 at the break, and never let the Tar Heels get any closer. Then 4 points down in the second half. Clemson pulls on to the victory in Littlejohn Coliseum by 13 points. Hunter Tyson was really something. In the final 10 minutes, he scored all 16 of his points to put the hammer down on the Tar Heels. Clyde Trapp had 14, and Amir Sims scored 10 and also contributed 6 assists as Brad Brownell's team found their way to win a physical battle.
It takes everything you got, and if you're not really physically ready for a fight, they're going to destroy you.
Whenever your number's called, you might play 30 minutes today, you might play 5 the next, but when your number's called, you got to know and trust in yourself that you're going to go and give your all.
It's an 11th win on the season for Clemson. More importantly, gets them back to 500 in the ACC. For all the great wins they've had outside of conference play and inside of it for that matter, their resume will also be enhanced if by the end of February they're hovering still near that 500 mark in conference play as far as making the big dance goes. Covering the Clemson Tigers, I'm Pete Yannity.
Thanks a lot there, Pete. Yeah, the next Tigers will host the Orange this Saturday at Littlejohn Coliseum. Tip time is set for 2 p.m. Syracuse, another team starting to hit a rhythm here. See what the latest is with the Orange. We go to Stephen Fonte. Steve.
Well, for the 4th time already this season, Syracuse is dealing with a COVID-related situation. A positive test within the Louisville program Wednesday morning led to a postponement of the Cards game inside the Dome Wednesday night. And it comes just as the Orange was starting to build some momentum, having won 3 of 4. They'll now try to keep that momentum going on Saturday at Clemson. The bigger impact, though, is how this postponement could end up affecting SU's NCAA tournament resume. The main issue for Syracuse is its lack of quality wins. Last night would have fallen under that category, and now that's one less opportunity this team has. As it stands right now, just 8 games remain in the regular season, with 4 other games currently postponed. I spoke with assistant coach Jerry McNamara shortly after the announcement was made yesterday. He's not too optimistic that all of those games will be rescheduled.
It's not like we had a huge gap between what they had scheduled and, a 2 weeks stretch where we're going to, like a Super Bowl, you get a couple weeks off before the big game. You get 2 weeks off before your ACC tournament to try to get some games back in. But I just don't see that. You just got to control what you can, which is, the way you practice and the way you behave when you're not in practice, taking care of yourself, making sure you're abiding by protocols. I've been really proud with our group of how we've done that.
Next up for the Orange is a really important game on the road at Clemson. SU is still looking for its first Quad 1 win to boost its tournament resume. A victory Saturday would resolve that issue. It'll be a 2 p.m. tip down in South Carolina. Covering Syracuse, I'm Stephen Fonte.
Thank you, Steve. Meanwhile, the Yellow Jackets looked like they'd found that missing element when they took down Florida State last Saturday. But Their game with Louisville showed us Georgia Tech still has some stuff to figure out. Moses Wright had a career-high 7 blocks, and he recorded his 10th double-double of his career with 15 points and 6 rebounds, but it was not enough. The Yellow Jackets used a 10-0 run to grab a 14-7 lead early in the game, but Louisville closed the first half with a 10-3 run and then opened the second half with a 14-2 spurt to run out to an 18-point lead. It's back to the drawing board and chalking it up to just one more bad night.
You guys know what I believe. It's a guards game, and if your guards aren't really good, it's going to be hard to win the game. And our guards were really good on Saturday versus Florida State. Our guards weren't really good today, and and Jose just didn't play as well. You know, it's probably his worst game in a long time, and when that happens, we could struggle.
Next time we see the Yellow Jackets take the court, it's going to be 8 p.m. this Saturday at McCamish Pavilion against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. For the latest on the crew from South Bend, we're going to turn things over to our man on the scene, Chris Whitley. Chris.
Well, don't look now, but the Fighting Irish are alive and well. After getting their heads handed to them on their 2-game swing through Virginia, Notre Dame is on a roll. Bray's bunch winning 4 of 5 to get back to the middle of the conference standings. Now, the coach credits the resurgence to not only a veteran team that's responding to being held accountable, but also because the investment in their defense is beginning to pay dividends.
I think we know what we're capable of. We believe in ourselves. We're a great team. And I think it's starting to come together for us, and it's exciting, and we're excited about it. So we just want to continue to keep that energy rolling through the month of February and kind of as the season wraps up.
You feel like you're playing well on this back half of the season. And, you know, we've done it before. I mean, this nucleus has done this dance before, you know, surging in February. So, you know, I'm going to keep talking to them about really believing it's our time.
Well, Bray and the Irish like where they are, and we all know strange things happen in league play. Now, we'll see if the Irish can keep the train rolling when they visit Georgia Tech on Saturday. With the Fighting Irish on their chase for the championship, I'm Chris Whitley.
Thank you, Chris. And if you think it's been a while since you've seen the Boston College Eagles basketball team play a game, it's because it's been a while. The last time the Eagles hit the court was January 16th. They took on and lost to Notre Dame, and since then they've had not one but 5 games postponed. Shut down both their men's and women's programs due to COVID. I mean, the Eagles were supposed to get back on the court this Tuesday against Florida State, but they only had like 4 scholarship players available. I meant the scout guys would have to get out there and, you know, fill in. And it just begged the question, why even play the game? Luckily, they didn't. They called the game about 24 hours before tip. So, now the focus turns to the next game this Saturday. Coach Christian isn't so much worried about X's and O's anymore as he's turned into a part-time nurse and part-time social worker taking care of his team.
We could have 5 scholarship players. One of the guys coming out is hurt, so I'm not sure his status. So we could have 5 scholarship players to play against NC State if everything goes well. And the other guys are just progressing. You know, the day starts here with, you got to check in on all the guys who are in isolation first. You got to check in with the guys on quarantine, make sure they're doing okay, make sure they're not wanting for anything, or that we're available and thinking about them. And that's kind of been the norm for us for the last couple of weeks. And it's not easy. You know, those were off. This last week was the first cases we had in 2,500 tests in the first 6 months.
And Boston College going to hit the floor again this weekend. Hopefully they're going to take on NC State, hopefully. Now for the latest on the Wolfpack, turning things over to Todd Gibson, who has more. Todd?
The losses continue to pile up for North Carolina State. The Wolfpack has now lost 6 of its last 7 games after Virginia beat them here at PNC Arena last night. But through all the adversity, one player has taken his game to a new level. Cole Helms is on fire, and his teammates have taken notice.
No, it don't surprise me at all. I've known Cole, obviously I've seen Cole work his butt off since he's been here. So I mean, it's, he's getting what he's earned. I couldn't be any more proud of him for what he's doing. Way he's stepping up. He's been a huge lift for us. So I'm glad he's playing confident and doing what he's learned to do and what he's been in the gym working to do.
Helms and his front court mates need some help. The NC State big men combined for 41 points against the Wahoos, but 5 Wolfpack guards could muster just 16 points.
I've got to get a little bit more scoring from my guard position for the second game in a row. Basically, our bigs have been carrying us, and obviously our team has shifted as far as who we are. We're getting better, but I got some young guards that need experience, and once they get experience and continue to play, they're going to be really good basketball players, and we're hoping that it happens sooner than later.
Those two young guards Keats is talking about, Cam Hayes and Shaquille Moore, could have a breakout game on Saturday when NC State travels to depleted Boston College. Following the Wolfpack in Raleigh, I'm Todd Gibson.
Good stuff, Gibby, as always. And the Demon Deacons look like a team that would go winless in conference play for a bit, but head coach Steve Forbes and crew managed to win 2 of their last 4 here, get a little steam built up. For more on the up-and-coming Demon Deacons, we turn things over to WGHP's Clara Goodwin. Clara?
Any first-year coach is going to see struggles with a new team. And that's no different for Steve Forbes, who has won just 2 games in the ACC in his debut season with Wake Forest. Coach Forbes has generally been encouraging of his team, who has shown grit and fight despite the losses. However, after the Deacons' 21-point loss to Notre Dame, he was a little more than just disappointed.
The root of the problem with our team is that we just have a team that's infected with the disease of me. We have way too many players on this team that are more concerned about scoring. And when they don't score, they bring nothing else to the table. And that's a problem. And when I walk in the locker room and losing doesn't really hurt that bad, that's why I'm here. I'm here to fix that problem, and fix it I will.
We quit, and he's right. It looks, from the look of it, like, pretty sure everyone saw, like, it looked as if we quit. Like, we stopped playing.
Tonight, we got exposed. You know, I'm not even talking about making baskets or, you know, whatever. I'm talking about just just to compete. And the joy of being a fearless competitor. Wasn't there tonight, and I'm not going to accept it.
Now, Wake Forest has a week to regroup before hitting the road to Boston College in hopes of another conference win. Covering the Deacons, I'm Clara Goodwin.
Coach pulling the truth cards out on that one. Wow, that's going to be interesting the next couple of years. Next time we see the Demon Deacons is going to be next February when they travel to Conti Forum, Chestnut Hill, to take on the Boston College Eagles. All right, so about that trivia question from earlier. Did you find the answer without Googling it? All right, here's a question now. Last time since 2000, how many times has both UNC and Duke had a player average 20-plus points per game in the same season? Got it? Believe it or not, the answer is once. During the 2000-2001 season, UNC guard Joseph Ford. You kidding me? Seriously? 20.9 points per game. While Duke guarded eventual national champion that season, Jay Williams averaged 21.6 points per game. With all the players, you would think that they would have had so many more. During the 2000-2001 season, UNC guard, he averaged 20.9 points per, while Duke guard, eventual national champion that season, Jay Williams, averaged 21.6 points per game. You could have bought me for $1 with that one, man. Seriously. Speaking of dollars. Nothing like rivalries in basketball, and man, we've got one of the best right here in our backyard. I'm talking Duke and North Carolina, and it may not be they ranked on the polls, neither one of those two squads, but college basketball, it stops and takes notice whenever these rivals collide. Let's bring in Jason Logan at Covers.com. Are there any trends coming out of Tobacco Road, Jason, that bettors should keep an eye on this Saturday?
Yeah, there's a few out there. This is the first time these teams have not been ranked in a rivalry game since February 27th, 1960s. We got to go to the Wayback Machine to find that one. And Duke's probably going to open as the favorite here, despite that loss to Miami earlier and their most recent effort. The Blue Devils have been pretty good at Durham, 6-2 at home. However, 2-6 against the spread. If we look at the recent meetings between these rivals, North Carolina has been the bettor's choice. They've gone 6-2 in the past 8 head-to-head meetings with Duke. And if we want to jump back even further, we go back to the 97-98 season. The road team in this rivalry is 27-16-1 against the spread. That's covering 63% of the time. We want to look just at underdogs in this matchup as well too. Underdogs 29-23-1 ATS in all meetings between Duke and UNC. That includes those neutral site meetings in the ACC tournament, and that's since 97-98 as well. Of course, this one here isn't going to have any Cameron crazies in the stands, so it definitely adds a different wrinkle to the rivalry this year. But road teams and underdogs tend to get a little extra points here.
And now Virginia Virginia was originally planned to face Louisville, but due to the Cardinals' COVID-19 issues, the Cavaliers have to pivot to a home date with Pittsburgh, which just pulled an upset over Virginia Tech. Should Virginia be on upset alert this weekend?
Maybe. Pitt got a huge game from Xavier Johnson versus VT, and Coach, he kind of lit a fire under his butt, benched this guy. He was struggling during Pitt's 3-game losing streak, actually totaled just 26 points in those 3 games, and then he came out and exploded with 32 points off the bench against the Hokies. And Pitt gets another tough test here, another tough ACC defense in Virginia. The Cavs picked up where they left off after having that 7-game winning streak snapped by the Hokies last week. Virginia took down NC State 64-57, and they've been a solid bet versus Pitt going back here. If you look at their last 10 matchups, they're actually 7-1-2 against the spread in the last 10 versus the Panthers. One trend to note here with UVA is their offensive uptick at home. This team is averaging 74 points at home. It's more than 5 points than what they're putting up on the road. And that's helped over bettors kind of cash some rare over paydays with this team that is traditionally a low scoring under team. Virginia has actually gone over the total in all 4 ACC home games this year. They're 5-2 over under on John Paul Jones Arena floor this year as well.
And Syracuse is sorting things out with 3 wins in its last 4 games, heading into a road date with Clemson coming up Saturday. Could the Orange be a team to watch as we get closer to the ACC tournament?
Yeah, I mean, momentum can mean everything at this time of the year. And good coaches like Jim Boeheim are going to get their teams and their programs peaking at those right times. Not only is Cuse finding its footing in conference play, but it's close to returning one of its biggest players, that's 6'10" center, Barami Sidibe. He could be an anchor in that orange zone. This is a big guy. He changes a lot of shots. He blocks a lot of shots. He could also really help with Syracuse on the rebounding side of the floor too. He's been out of action since the season opener with the knee injury. Boeheim does have some musical chairs to play with his starting lineup, but anytime you're getting key bodies back for this stretch run is never a bad thing. As for this trip to Clemson, the Tigers kind of coming off a gauntlet of ACC foes. Not only did they face a lot of blue bloods like UNC and Duke and Louisville, but they played some top teams in Virginia and Florida State as well. And the Tigers have seen their defense dip a bit. They were the top team in defensive efficiency rating at KenPom, which is a very important key metric. They've come a bit off of that, but they have also gone under the total in their last 3 games. So knowing that Cuse is getting perhaps one of their key defenders back and maybe having to sacrifice chemistry and a little offense to work Sidibe back into the lineup, I'm looking at the under here for the Orange and the Tigers.
He is Jason Logan of Covers.com, crunching the numbers so we don't have to. Thanks as always, Jason.
All right, thanks. Enjoy the games.
And that race for the top spot in the conference is heating up. Here are this week's standings ahead of a loaded weekend of ACC hoops. Virginia remains #1 despite its recent loss, followed up there by Florida State and Virginia Tech. It was the Hokies who gave the Cavs that first ACC loss. Louisville creeping back up the standings. They are #4. An up and down week have UNC at 5. Pitt and Duke remain tied for the 6th spot. Clemson rounds out the top 8 for another week. Teams 9 through 12 are the same teams as last week, just in a little bit different order here. Syracuse and NC State are tied at 9, while Notre Dame and NC State are in 11th and 12th place. Miami 13th, followed by Wake Forest. Boston College is getting left behind in the standings after having its last 5 games postponed. Hang in there, Coach Christian. There's brighter days ahead. They are set to take on NC State Saturday, though, so barring another postponement, God, I don't want that to see it again. That's it. Hey, thanks for joining us for Chase for the Championship. Remember, you can catch a brand new episode every Thursday night at 7 right here. Until next week, get out there, watch some basketball. See you all next Thursday.